Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, cruisers. So, wherever and whatever time it is, I've got some news for you. Did you know that the CDC has a color code system for the cruise lines to let us know if they are over the threshold of the coronavirus on the ship? So, I've got some news and I'm going to go over that with you. But first, let's go over this. So on August 14th at 10 a.m. local time in Galveston, Texas, the new state-of-the-art $110 million Royal Caribbean International Terminal is going to be breaking ground. So this is going to be amazing. It's going to be 170,000 square feet, and it's going to be on a 10-acre part of land that's just southeast of what is currently known as Pier 10 at the Galveston Wharves. So look for it in 2022. Pretty amazing that they could do something that fast. Anyhow, that's the news for that. So let's get back to the CDC information. Okay, so let's get right into this. This is information right off of the CDC website, and this has information about the cruise ship guidance. Now, I know that a lot of us have heard and seen and read this over the months and months and months during this pandemic situation. So there might be new things, or maybe there won't be anything new for you, but I'm pretty sure that a lot of us out here did not know that the cruise ship and the CDC has a color coding guideline as far as cruise ships go, telling us, what ships are safe or safer or safest type of situation. So I'll get into that in just a little bit, but let me read to you what it says directly off of the CDC website when you first go there about cruise ships. It says under the cruise ship guidance, CDC has issued an order that requires face masks to be worn by all travelers while in public transportations, including all passengers on board and all personnel operating maritime conveyances traveling into, within, or out of the United States. Masks are also required while indoors at U.S. transportation hubs, including seaports and ferry terminals. Travelers are not required to wear a mask in outdoor areas of conveyances. For more information on this mask requirement, it says, click here to see the Q&A session stuff. Let's take a quick look here under the Q&A. Oh boy, there is a lot of information. So you'll definitely want to go to the CDC website and just look over all this stuff here. So let me go ahead and just back up, and we're going to go to what I was initially talking about. Is you see right here where it says cruise ship color status. Now, as I mentioned, the CDC has guidelines for cruise ships to follow, and there are different tiers, if you want to call it that, color coding situations where it lets the cruise lines know where are you at as far as the status goes for safety or the number of COVID cases that were found on your ships. So it really breaks it down. So let's go ahead and click on that. So here we go. Again, there's just a lot of information here. So let me go ahead and read from the top here, and we're going to go over this together. Okay, it says, getting vaccinated prevents severe illness, hospitalization, and death. Unvaccinated people should get vaccinated and continue masking until they are fully vaccinated with the Delta variant. This is more urgent than ever. And it goes on to say that CDC has updated the guidance for fully vaccinated people based on new evidence on the Delta variant. We're not going to get into that part. While cruising is always going to pose some sort of risk for transmission of COVID-19, and of course other airborne and other type of viruses and things like that, but we're specifically talking about the COVID-19. So it's not 100% foolproof. So as it says, I'm going to read it again. While cruising will always pose some risk of COVID-19 transmission, CDC is committed to working with cruise ship operators to ensure that cruise ship passenger operations are conducted in a way that reduces the risk of COVID-19 transmission among crew members, passengers, and port personnel. That's what we really want, and that's what everyone is striving for. With the exception of cruise ship operating in Florida, all cruise ships operating in U.S. waters or seeking to operate in U.S. waters must comply with the requirements of the CDC Framework for Conditional Sailing Order, or CSO, and technical instructions, even when outside of U.S. waters. So this really means if you're coming through the U.S. port, if you're departing from the U.S. port, if you're stopping in the U.S. port, but you say, you know what? I'm out in foreign waters. I can take my mask off and do whatever I want, wherever I want. Well, according to the CDC guidelines, no. It's you're following everything that's supposed to be stateside if you're passing through the U.S. ports at all. Okay. Here's what else it has to say. It says, note, as of July 23rd, 2021, the CSO and accompanying measures, such as the technical instructions, are currently non-binding recommendations. So, it's recommendations, heavily recommended though, for cruise ships arriving in, located within, or departing from the port of Florida. However, CDC will continue to operate the CSO as a voluntary program for such ships should they choose to follow the CSO measures on voluntary basis. Now, we all know that things have been going back and forth with the state of Florida and cruise ships. Again, we're not going to get into that, but you're going to want to, follow up with CDC guidelines, check their website, check the cruise line websites, everything and anything, and pay attention to all the latest, greatest breaking news that's happening out there. But to just continue on, we're going to drop down to what we really want to talk about, and that's the color coding, the color status of the cruise ships put on by the CDC. So this says eligibility for ship color status. That sounds funny, like it's elementary school stuff. But hey, if it's the easiest way to do things, to take a look and know exactly where you're at, this is the best way of doing it. So it says the color coding system is only applicable to cruise ships operating or planning to operate in U.S. waters. Status of ships is dependent upon daily submission of the Enhanced Data Collection, the EDC, during COVID-19 pandemic form. So CDC has confirmed that the ships listed in the table below, except for the ones that are gray or grayed out, designated ships, are operating under health and safety protocols that align with CDC's standards for protecting passengers, crew, port personnel, and communities by mitigating the public health risks posed by COVID-19. Gray designated ships may have their own COVID-19 health and safety protocols, which CDC has not reviewed nor confirmed. When a cruise ship operating under the CSO notifies CDC of suspected or confirmed cases of COVID-19 on board, CDC determines whether an investigation is needed based on the predetermined investigation threshold. So you see right here, you can click and see what the threshold is. This investigation threshold gives the CDC and the cruise industry the ability to work closely together to protect the health and safety of those on board and in communities. Let's click on this and take a look, see what it says about the threshold. Okay, once again, there's a lot of information here. So very interesting stuff. So you're going to definitely want to check it all out. Starting right here, just a quick read. Green ship criteria. No reports of COVID-19. So that's good. If it's green, it's all a go. Orange, it means that COVID-19 or CLI has been reported in the past 7 days, and the ship is below the CDC's investigated threshold. So, like I said, tons of stuff to read here. Simulated voyages, yellow. So, okay, we've got green, we've got orange, we've got yellow, and we've got red. Typically, we all know what red means. Stay away, danger, bad, bad. Anyhow, let's go ahead and go back here. So we've gone over the eligibility for ship color status. So the eligibility for voyage status for ships following CSO. Voyage status is determined by the ship cruise operator's current CDC approved voyage request application. Let me read that again. Voyage status is determined by the cruise ship's operator's current CDC approved voyage request or application. I'm not going to read any of that stuff. You see it right here. You can read it if you want, or definitely go to the website. But the criteria for the ship color status for ships in U.S. waters, this is what it reads. The following table lists cruise ships operating or planning to operate in U.S. waters. Ship color status is determined by using surveillance data from the previous 7 days, regardless of the voyage's date, and CDC investigation findings. So it's a combination of the two, whatever the CDC investigation finds and for the previous 7 days. Now, the following persons are not included when determining the ship's color status. Passengers who test positive for the COVID-19 on the day of embarkation and who do not board the ship, or passengers who are newly embarking crew members who test positive during their embarkation quarantine period. So, in the status for the CDC, for them to determine what color code they're going to get, they do not include those two class of people, meaning that if you're a passenger and if you test positive before boarding and you do not board, even though you're on the ship manifest, you are not counted against that. Okay. Same goes for newly embarking crew members who test positive during the embarkation quarantine period. All right. So let's take just a really quick look here. All right. So let's take a look at the color coding that they've given the different cruise lines and ships. So this says cruise ship color status. This table is updated several times a week as needed. The last update was August 12th with EDC data submitted on the 11th. So the update actually was today. Today is the 12th of August, 2021. The information, of course, was given yesterday, the 11th, and then it took that time to input the data. So this is very, very current. And as we see right off the bat, the American Queen Steamboat Company, they're doing really good here. Carnival Corporation, we've got the Carnival Breeze. It is a yellow status, and the yellow status, it says CDC has investigated and ship remains under observation. Let me scroll down to the bottom again, and let me just go over the color coding real quick with you. Okay. So, like I said, there's a lot here. We're not going to go over every single one. But right here again, green status means that there's been no reports. Orange status means that the ship reported a case of COVID-19, but is below the threshold of the CDC investigation. Yellow status means that they have met the threshold, and as it says, that they are being watched. And then after yellow comes red. Red status means the ship is at or above the threshold for passenger and crew COVID-19 cases. So as you see, as I'm scrolling up, we don't see any red, so that's a good thing. And it's a great thing that we see a lot of green here. There's also a lot of yellow, but there's a lot of green, so that's good. Cruise ships are doing everything they can to stay within the CDC guidelines. All right, so I know I kind of fumbled around on a lot of this stuff, but the information is here for you to go over. It is on the CDC website, and I thought I'd bring this to all of our attention because I really was not aware about the color coding, and this makes it really simple for us, for me, for you to go to the CDC website and just take a look and see where is it that the cruise lines are at with CDC guidelines as far as COVID, the COVID outbreak and things like that. COVID outbreak might be too strong a word to use, but COVID transmission, how's that? Okay. So we could come here and quickly take a look at all the cruise lines that are participating and their ships that are participating and take a look to see if it's 100% safe. So there you have it on that information as far as the CDC and the cruise line ship color coding statuses. So hopefully this information was good. Hopefully it wasn't too painful. And again, please subscribe, follow, click the like button, make comments, all that stuff. I thank you very much for joining me today. And until next time, stay healthy, have a good time, and we'll chat again soon. So long.